All right, the watch list for February 4th. If you watched my video last night, I had redrawn the recent support and resistance lines on the SPY, and I did not expect the SPY to get all the way down to the recent lows, but it sure did. Look at that, and then look at that reversal. So let's go to 5-minute candles. I'll tell you what, on StockTwits, when it looked like this, I typed out on StockTwits today, SPY is at support or nearing support, something along those lines. And look at that bounce right off that line. And that line is just from the daily chart. And then it was up and through the highs. Amazing reversal today. And you can see that right there. So it does help to have support and resistance lines, on your charts. And I hope that helped somebody today. Maybe somebody made some money off that. HNSN. Okay, I think it had, I think it was FDA approval of something, but I could be wrong. Yeah, I just paused the video and looked it up. FDA clearance of a catheter or something along those lines. So, and that was what caused this gap up and huge move. And then it sells off and ends up at the low of the day yesterday. And then today bounces or gaps down a little bit more, although recovered a bit at the end. So I'm going to have this one on Bounce Watch. I mean, it did have good news, and it's fallen now from, it got up to over 5 all the way back down to below 3 today, closing at 324. So I want to watch that one for a potential bounce tomorrow. Electronic Arts, same deal. Let me draw a line here real quick. Electronic Arts had this, remember that nasty day in August, and that was the low, was 59.47. It has fallen, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 days in a row to get down and pierce those August lows, but ended up bouncing a little bit and closing around there. So I'm looking for a bounce in EA tomorrow. SDPI. You know me, whenever I have a big volume, a high relative volume move, especially on a lower float stock like this, and now we're 3 days lower, might need to still come in a little bit and get down, near the 8-day, something like that, but I do like this one as a potential bounce now. That's SDPI. Weight Watchers did put in a little bit of a bottoming tail, a little bit of a possible double bottom at the 200-day. WTW goes on Bounce Watch for tomorrow. WATT, again, you see a pattern here. Big relative volume, 3 days lower, actually 3 little tails right in this area, so it is finding buying here. Looking for this one to possibly turn back up tomorrow. That's WATT. TMST, kind of flagging on the daily. I like it over today's high was 786. Over that, you might start breaking this flag and head back higher. TMST. VLTC is what I meant to type there. VLTC, you can see at times makes really big moves. Hasn't done that in a while. Hasn't done it since November. Did have a nice little volume spike today, but gave back some of its gains. I'm going to put that on watch tomorrow for maybe a red to green, something like that. Zika virus play, INO. Had a really big move here from a low of 450 over the course of a couple weeks all the way through 7. And now we're back down and it hit the 20-day today. So looking for a bounce in INO tomorrow. Lumber Liquidators had this big spike on news a few sessions ago, and then I don't really like when things round trip. Okay, when you had this big move from a low that day of 1250 all the way to 1508, and now we're down below that 1250. So what that does is tell you that okay, whatever this news was, obviously isn't that stellar, right? But go to 15-minute candles here, and you can see that big spike there. So you still, this is more visible on 60s. You still have some support, right around the $12 area from I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and it kind of bounced off that area today. So what happens is sometimes you get big news, and then the next day there's the opening 15-minute candle. The next day there's the opening 15-minute candle today. Sold off after the opening 50, really after the open on both of these days. What happens is, after a big spike like this, if we are to open and just chop around or go down a little bit and then come up and go red to green and take out the high of the day tomorrow, you can get kind of the crowd piling into LL, Lumber Liquidators saying, hey, all right, maybe that news is starting to kick in. If it starts lighting up the new highs ticker, especially after maybe an early sell-off in the morning. So I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but for that reason, and because we had that big spike 3 sessions ago, I'm going to have it on watch. I'm certainly not bullish because of the round trip there, but it doesn't cost me anything to have it on a chart. SIEN, nice volume spike today. Kind of trying to break out of this range, so I'm going to look for a red to green, something like that tomorrow. ENOC. You know what? This one is, well, it looked like it was going to just keep pushing down, and then a nice green day today. It still hasn't broken a previous day's high since this massive move, but it's finding support now. I like it over today's high, over 531. It becomes interesting. Yesterday's high was 540, so this one, let's go to 15s. You can kind of see it here, right? Had this big push, and and it's kind of flagging and kind of putting in maybe a little rounded bottom here to turn. It certainly looks good over 540, so we'll keep an eye on that one. That's ENOC, and then Twitter is my final one. Possible double bottom here. Really nice volume on this day, and then decent volume again today. Little, just like a double bottom, then a little hammer candle today. So looking for a little bit a second day bounce in Twitter there tomorrow too. Hopefully we'll find some gappers to trade in the morning, and we'll also be watching this list as well. All right, enjoy your evening. We'll talk to you tomorrow.